There's an eye in my daughter's closet, and she insists on leaving the door open for it. The smell of a new house is supposed to be the smell of a new beginning. For the first week, it was. It was the scent of fresh paint and the promise of a future where my wife, Anna, and I would watch our 6-year-old daughter, Lily, grow up. This was our forever house. Lily adapted quickly, and on the third day, she introduced us to her new friend. The watcher lives in my closet, she told us matter-of-factly over dinner. An imaginary friend. Perfectly normal. We played along, not thinking anything of it until the first rule emerged a few days later. I was tucking her in and went to close the heavy oak closet door. "No, Daddy," she whispered, a real panic in her voice. "You can't close it all the way. The watcher needs to see out." She left a 6-inch gap, smiled at the darkness, and then burrowed under her covers. It became a non-negotiable part of our nightly routine. A silly quirk, we told ourselves, but a cold knot of unease had formed in my stomach. That knot became a fist last night when I found one of her drawings. It was a classic kid's drawing of our house, but in the window of her room, she had drawn an eye. It wasn't a doodle. It was shockingly, horrifyingly detailed. A perfect hazel iris, a dilated pupil, and a spiderweb of red veins. It was just there, floating and staring. That was it. I am a rational man. My daughter was developing an unhealthy fixation. After she and Anna were asleep tonight, I walked into her room. The sliver of absolute black in the closet doorway seemed to suck the air from the room. My heart hammered against my ribs, but I ignored it. I reached out, my hand trembling, and pushed the heavy door. It closed with a final, definitive click. For a moment, nothing. I felt a surge of relief. Then, with a sound like 100 camera flashes going off at once, every single light bulb in the house exploded. A single deafening pop plunged us into a sudden, suffocating darkness. After calming Anna and a terrified Lily, claiming it must have been a massive power surge, I knew what I had to do. Armed with my phone's flashlight, I went back into Lily's room and pulled the closet door open, recreating that 6-inch gap. The moment I did, the emergency nightlight in the hallway, one I'd forgotten we even had, flickered to life. Coincidence? It had to be. But I couldn't sleep. I had to know what was in there. I knelt down, my knees cracking on the floorboards, and peered into the darkness. It was there. Suspended in the gloom was a real, human-looking eye. Its brilliant green iris, flecked with gold, was slick and wet. It followed my every movement with a smooth, silent, perfectly biological arc. There was no body, no context. Just a silent, sentient, watching eye. My mind raced. I needed proof. Something tangible to show Anna so she wouldn't think I was losing my mind. I remembered the old webcam I used for work. An idea, born of terror and desperation, took hold. I crept into the study, grabbed the camera, and quietly set it up on Lily's dresser, aimed squarely at the closet. I'm in my study now, watching the live feed on my laptop. It's been hours. Anna and Lily are asleep upstairs. For the longest time, it was just a dark, silent video of a closet door. I almost gave up, but then I saw the timestamp in the corner of the screen tick over to 3:03 am. The eye, which had been staring into the corner of the closet, swiveled in a sickeningly fluid motion to look directly at the camera lens. It filled the frame. Before I could react, the camera's autofocus struggled for a second, and the impossible darkness behind the eye swam into clarity. It wasn't a wall. It was a gallery of eyes, hundreds of them, packed into the abyssal depth. Eyes of every color and shape, all wide with a single, raw emotion. Absolute terror. They weren't looking at the camera. They were looking past it, into the room. In the final moment before the feed cut to static, the watcher looked directly into the camera, at me, and gave a slow, deliberate wink. Now you see. The truth hit me with the force of a physical blow. It wasn't a prison. It was an observation post. It wasn't a monster. It was a sentry. The rules weren't threats. They were a security protocol. Keep the door ajar so I can see. I hadn't trapped a monster when I closed that door. I had blinded our guardian and announced to whatever was outside that the house was now unprotected. At that exact moment, I heard it downstairs. The distinct wooden creak of the front door swinging open. A slow, heavy scraping sound began to drag itself across our new floors. It was moving toward the staircase. I didn't grab a weapon. I didn't run. My only insane sliver of hope was the thing I had feared most. I burst from my study and sprinted up the stairs, my feet silent on the carpet. I threw open Lily's door. She was still asleep. I ran to the closet and flung the heavy door wide open. The watcher's green eye swiveled to me. Its gaze wasn't angry. It was relieved, vindicated. Finally. Then, its gaze darted past me, to the open bedroom doorway. The scraping is right outside the door. The watcher is staring at the doorway. I think it's telling me to hide. I think it's telling me it will handle this. The doorknob is turning.